Hello and welcome to GadgetGuideUSA. Thanks for watching episode 5 of my SwagTron T1 torture test. Today is going to be the actual freezer test. This is not the SwagTron I'll be torture testing today. This is the blue one. I just decided to ride that one. I have had my red SwagTron T1 in the freezer for a little bit over 14 hours at this point at a temperature of either -2 or -0.5 depending on which thermometer you're going with. But either way, it's definitely below 0 degrees. It's definitely been there for more than 14 hours. It's at my house right now. I just didn't want it to thaw or anything like that as I came out here while I was doing this little introduction. So essentially what I've done, I've put it in the freezer for 14 hours at 0 degrees approximately. And now it's completely frozen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run home, grab the SwagTron T1, put it in a cooler to prevent it from heating up from heating up before I get here. I'm going to come out here, show it to you, and then immediately turn it on and try to ride it. That may sound like a weird test, but at the same time, both lithium-ion batteries, the induction coils, and all those electronics are really prone to temperature variations. It actually has an operating temperature on it from 0 to maybe 90 degrees Fahrenheit or something on the box. So essentially what I'm testing is a rapid change of temperature, both of the battery and the electronics. So theoretically, by the time I get it here, it should be maybe 1 or 2 degrees because I'm keeping it in a cooler. And then I'm just going to turn it on and ride it as hard and as fast as I can and see what happens. You know, if it's poorly made, then the batteries will deform, it'll quit working, or condensation will get on the motherboard, or there's all kinds of things that could go wrong with it. But essentially we're going to test and see exactly what happens today with a large temperature differential over the entire unit. So I hope you enjoy episode 5 of my SwagTron T1 torture test, the freezer test, or the rapid temperature change test. Stay tuned. And it is a beautiful sunny day out here, so we're having some thawing of the ice here. So I guess I'm just going to go ahead and try to get it close up, and I promise it was frozen for almost 15 hours, 14 hours, 50-something minutes or so. So right there, let me make sure we're getting good focus. I mean, it's everything was completely frozen on the outside. It was fully charged completely when I put it in the freezer to make this absolutely as dangerous as possible. So basically I haven't turned it on or done anything yet, so I'm not even sure if it's going to turn on. Oh, there we go. It did turn on. I mean, there's ice caked all around the power button, so it's kind of hard to like jam in there. But I guess once that thawed out a little bit, it seems to work. It is on. The lights are on. There's little chunks of ice everywhere, and let's see if it works. Oh, you can actually see how frosty this wheel is here. You can see the frost built up on it, so it's definitely frozen. Almost 15 hours at approximately 0 degrees, and let's get it going. Ooh. That first little jump there was a little laggy. It didn't seem to want to go. So it's definitely acting a little bit funny. I mean, it's not as responsive as a normal SwagTron T1. And it doesn't seem to want to get up to max speed very quickly. When I get it going up to max speed, it doesn't seem to really like burst like it normally does. Like maybe I'll try to turn around. Maybe it's a calibration issue. Maybe the freezer has messed up the calibration. But I mean, it's still working. It just doesn't seem to be working as good as the normal SwagTron T1. I guess freezing it for 15 hours is definitely not recommended in the SwagTron owner's manual. But that being said, it is still actually working. Just a note, I know you can't see the actual battery indicator. It's too bright out here, too great of a sunny day. The battery, when I put it in the freezer, was completely full. However, this little battery indicator that's normally solid lit green, when it's fully charged, it's blinking green, meaning it's half charged. Which is absolutely no way that's possible unless it actually lost charge to over 15 hours in the freezer. It's not a bad day at work. Okay, it seems to be running great now. Absolutely perfect. It's been 18 minutes since I actually started riding it. And you saw all I did was really try to do some spins and, you know, ride. There's about 20 yards, of course, that you can't see in that direction. Ride it as fast, try to get as fast as I could going that way, and then just come back and forth, do spins, and ride hard in general. But I would say that the wheels have heated up. They're definitely warm to the touch, so they're probably 80, 85 degrees. And I got it up to top speed as fast as I could. One thing is that when I was driving it, for the first 17 minutes or 18 minutes, it wasn't quite as responsive as normal. When I leaned forward, it didn't quite accelerate as fast, and maybe a little sluggish. Okay, no, it turned fine, but just getting up to fast speed, at top speed, I don't think I was reaching 8 miles an hour. I think I was really reaching probably 5.5, just a shot in the dark. And that was definitely because of the freezing. After 18 minutes, it's now currently operating, perfect. And the top speed is definitely back up to exactly where I expect it. It should be noted that through the 17 minutes or 18-minute process of letting it heat up as fast as I could, there was some abnormal things that happened with the battery indicator. Basically, you have this battery indicator, it's solid green when it's full, it blinks green when it's about half full, and then it starts blinking red and beeping when it's low battery. So during the process of me riding it around, I couldn't definitely reach top speed, which I really would have liked to have been able to set it right down and go 8 miles an hour. I would guess that the top speed is 5.5 miles an hour, 5.5 miles an hour or so, just a shot in the dark. So I couldn't get it up to max speed right away. The turning was fine, but the acceleration was also sluggish. So definitely there was some problem with the output of the battery or something like that. But after 18 minutes now, it's operating completely. I'm getting to top speed. You can tell you're getting top speed, A, because I've drove them a lot, and B, because it actually has a top speed beeping. So there was definitely some battery issues caused by freezing it. It's definitely outside the operating temperatures. It says the lowest is like 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Of course, I had it in a freezer for over 15 hours at 0 degrees. And it does still seem to work. I was worried that the condensation might get inside and destroy something, but apparently it has no effect. And it's going top speed and driving perfectly now. So. So you even heard that beep at the top speed. So I mean, it's doing well. So definitely survived the freeze test. Of course, I don't know how it's going to affect the overall longevity of the device. It may take some lifespan off the battery by freezing it and bringing it up. It probably does, and just the reality of it. But at the same time, it did actually pass the freezing test. So it was put in the freezer for 15 hours and it still worked. And then I rode it as hard as I could, and you saw that. It still continued to work. So at the end of the day, I have to call the SwagTron T1 torture test, the freezer test, or the rapid temperature raising test, whatever you want to call it. Freezer test kind of has a better ring to it, but it definitely passed. It seems to be working exactly as designed. Once it kind of thawed out, like I said, for the first 18 minutes it wasn't exactly perfect. It was a little sluggish, but really that's much better than I would expect for freezing, say, my Android phone or an iPhone. So it does seem to be well made, and it definitely passed the freezer test. I hope you enjoyed episode 5 of the SwagTron T1 torture test, the freezer test. Comments are always welcome at the bottom of the page. Subscriptions are always appreciated. Thank you. And if you have any specific questions, comments, or suggestions, please email me at GadgetGuideUSA@gmail.com. Thank you for your time. Ooh, almost fell.